So K-pop Demon Hunters was all the rage for Christian commentators to discuss when it came out a while back, and I didn't have too much to say on it. I reviewed two of the songs, and I think I said pretty much everything I wanted to say, but a viewer brought up a question I didn't even think of when watching it that I think is important to address. So we see here, Theo9278 says, people talk all the time about the demon theme of the movie and if the lyrics are good as far as watching it or not. But someone recently told me that children shouldn't watch it because their outfits would encourage children to dress inappropriately. And I was wondering if you had any thoughts on that. And of course, anything I have thoughts on, anything you could bring up. So the first thought is, I think it's important to keep in mind like how St. Alphonsus Liguori, one of the smartest people that ever lived, when he was asked about, there was a fashion where women were going around topless, people were being Pharisees trying to catch people, and they asked him, hey, isn't that super sinful for these women? And he's like, well, not necessarily. The fashion influences us. Who knows if it's sinful for them to do that? And they're like, oh, but the people who popularized the fashion designers and stuff, it must be super sinful for. And he's like, not necessarily. They have other influences. And he wouldn't condemn anybody. And I think it's important for us to keep in mind for questions like these that we need to see what we can do better personally, not put it off on other people. We can never say, am I my brother's keeper? That's up to them to figure out. I don't have any part in it. Yes, we need to do our part, humbly thinking of everybody as superior to ourselves. So what can I do to help other people, right? And there's two kinds of modesty questions, I think, that come up in this context. One, it could be immodest if we dress inappropriately for an occasion where we're disrespecting people. I'll take an example from something I've really seen. If you're a board member for a public institution and you show up to a board meeting with stained sweats and a muscle shirt, that I would say is inappropriate. You're disrespecting all the people around. I don't really see how this relates to this particular question of dressing appropriately or inappropriately, but I think that's a part of modesty we forget. The other part is would the way I'm dressing tend to focus people's attention on sexualized stuff that they don't want to be focused on? So if I wear a red Speedo, I would improperly be putting myself out there, focusing people's attention on stuff they don't need to be focusing on that could, so what about K-pop Demon Hunters? Well, the first, I think they're in their normal costume. There's a couple things we could see. One, they wear shirts that show their shoulders, which some parents could be concerned of, but they usually have jackets on and covering up, so I think that's not really a concern. One of the themes of this movie is covering stuff up, and I think it shows and could be a good conversation for parents with their families where is all covering up a good, modest thing? No, we see in lots of cultures where especially having women cover up very much, even more than our Christian cultures, it could be a sign of control, not a sign of modesty or trying to be our brother's keeper, right? So I don't really think that's a concern. They wear belly shirts a lot, which I think for some parents might be a concern and something you want to talk with your children about. To me, I didn't even notice any of this when watching it at first, so I had this question. And then they also wear those booty shorts, which I think that does fit into the category of drawing attention and stuff. But I think the way it's done, it isn't to bring focus there. So it's another conversation starter because children are usually gonna encounter way more than that just in living their lives, interacting with children their own age. So I don't think it's encouraging that too much. It might not be appropriate for some children to watch, and a parent might have to discern that, but I think most of these things are things you could talk to your kids about, and it wouldn't be and it would be a case-by-case basis for parents to know their children, but I don't think overall it's, oh yeah, stay away from this movie because of those concerns.